Hi, it's Jane, and on today's WOTWIP and Coffee, which I don't have coffee, I actually just have water, I am working on some of those hats for the kindergartners. Now, this is the hat that was colored, so that's what I am working on right now. I have decided that I will do all the pom-poms at the very end, just because I've got a set of hats to make. I think there are 4 or 5 hats in here. This is one of the next hats that they want made. Need to cover up some names, so let me cover the name. And then that is another hat that needs to be made. And there is another one. And I chose this one because it has black in it. And then there is the last one in this set. I chose it because a lot of the ladies don't like to work with black. So that's what I am working with. I am working with that black too, because I know a lot of the ladies will not take that. I don't always find black that hard to work with. Lost my hook in the skein. Got to get it out of there, stuck it down there. Generally when I make these hats, I just work straight from the skein, have it in one of those buckets from Dollar Tree. So that's what I'm doing. It is a paid-for pattern, and I'm not sure where it comes from. But the actual hat is it's for a small adult. And I don't know why they continue to use this pattern, because there are a lot better patterns that are the right size for a child. But, sometimes you just have to do what they want done. They want the same pattern done. So that's what I'm doing, is working on those hats today. And then in between that, I have been working on a couple of items here and there for the Operation Christmas Child. That is one of my focuses this year, is to do a lot more items that can be sent that way. And a lot of it is going to be amigurumi, which means that I got to step up my skills and or learn some skills in order for it to not look so derpy. If they are too derpy, they will not get sent. I am hoping that that I don't do too many derpy animals. Let's just put it that way. So that basically is what I am working on today. And just thought I'd take you along with me. I have up in the community board on this channel. I thought I had done it last night, but apparently I did not. I put the poll up for the item that you guys get to vote on for me to make. I am making an item already. I know what that item is. And no, I'm not going to share it with you just yet. But you get to choose the other item I am making. And what I am doing is, this is the stash busting part of stash busting through my totes through this year. that is my goal as well, to say goal, intention, to stash bust through some of that yarn, whatnot. And one of those ways is to simply do it this way. And I think it's going to be an interesting year in getting through some of these totes of yarn. I do have a second grouping of yarn that I am planning on for the next voting session. But as you know, some of these things may take longer than others to make. In other words, I know I won't be able to get them done all in a week. It may take a couple of weeks. But that is not the goal of this series, to get through things and to get them out of the tote and completed within a week or two. The goal is to just work my way through my stash. It is a bit of a scorched earth type thing as well. So yeah, that's what I have been working on. Getting that ready and getting it ready to go. Do hope that I will get the tutorial up by this evening for the basket. Should have been last month, but like I said, the file got corrupted. And then I had to refilm, and of course, had to find the time to refill and refilm it and everything else, in amongst everything else that I was doing. So, do apologize for that, but you will get to see it, and you can make your own baskets. And it's just my different take on making a basket using that camel stitch, which I do enjoy using the camel stitch. The pattern in the book is for the middle bar half double crochet stitch. And the one that they use exclusively, they use the third loop in the front. However, for this pattern, I use the third loop in the back. It doesn't matter which one you use, you just need to be consistent with doing it in that manner. I just chose to do it in the back because I can see the that pattern on the front while I'm working, so I know it's actually doing what I expected it to do. Because sometimes if you're doing it on the front, you have to flip it over to the back to see what's going on. And so I just chose not to do that. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on right now. Trying to get all those things finished up and started, and it just seems like it's been a crazy week already. I've had a couple of appointments I had to take care of earlier today. So those are done, taken care of, and now I can sit back and relax a little bit today. It's cold out there here. The wind is absolutely biting. And not only that, but we've had some snow showers here and there today. So that always makes it fun and interesting. People get totally freaked out, and their mind is blown and everything else. So I don't know what to tell you. Crazy people. Speaking of crazy people, we've had a bunch of it lately, haven't we? One day in, 2 days into New Year's, and had some crazy stuff going on. Had some guy shoving somebody off of the platform subway. Fella got hit by a train, critical condition. You have shootings. We've had stabbings like crazy. We've had a car run over people in New Orleans. I mean, not a car, a truck run over some people. Hostage situations in Nevada. Lightning striking major buildings in Washington, D.C. And then, of course, the Trump Tower, the Tesla truck that blew up there had an active duty member of the Army in it. Don't know if that was one of those, because you read all these things about Tesla having some battery issues with their with the trucks, the Tesla trucks, and that's one of the things that happens is they explode. So was it that, or was it something nefarious? We're barely into 2025, and it's already been a full, interesting week, hadn't it? So, I don't know. It just seems like things getting crazier and crazier. I had someone that asked me, and I will tell you part of my decision with the totes and things that I make. I love making the bags, and I will continue to make bags, but they won't be as many in the future because right now, honestly, they're just not really selling. They're not selling as well. Let's just put it that way. And I think a lot of that is because with Temu and all the different little bags you can get, Temu and TikTok Shop, I cannot compete with those kind of sources to make bags and sell them. I can add a lot of things on there, but then it's going to cost money. And of course, if you find the same thing, even if it's not in a pattern or whatever that you like, you may be more prompted to buy that because you can get it for $16 plus $6 shipping, as opposed to paying $35 to $40 for one of my bags. And I understand that completely. So I'm looking to shift gears a little bit to add some different products. Just because I'm trying to, in a way, get out of a rut of just making bags. I do make concealed hand carry bags, but I don't like doing those because those are on a one-to-one basis commission, and a lot of that is dependent on pockets, where you want your conceal compartment at, and all kinds of things, and the materials, because those aren't something that you can easily just make up first thing, sell them outright, although I have done that in the past before. I had someone that wanted a certain product pattern, and I picked out the fabric she chose and worked on it and made the bag, and then in the end she chose not to finish the purchase. And I will tell you, when I make the concealed hand carry bags, I do take a deposit up front, which is non-refundable, and that generally covers the cost of the materials. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, because it's a lot of work to make these bags. They are a lot more time intensive and material intensive. So figure if you back out at the end of the thing, then you don't get your refund back. You don't get your money back on that. And that has worked well for me when I've been commissioned to make quilts as well, because people don't realize you can put out in material for say a queen size quilt, you can easily put out anywhere from $200 to $300. So if I'm expecting you to pay me $500 for a queen size quilt that I've made, that's material you requested and you chose, then yeah, you're going to have to pay that. And I have sold a couple of those. But you know, sometimes you get bored with things and want to stretch your imagination out and do things a little differently. So I'm looking at some different options for doing some different things that I like to do anyway. So the sale on those bags that is in the shop, like I said, will go through the 10th. And then after that, I most likely will pull almost all of the bags. Some of them I may relist at a later date, so that I can restructure the Etsy shop to reflect some of the other changes that I'm planning on doing in the future. But yeah, and when I say sale, you know, there's a lot of things they don't sell as well because you never know what someone likes or doesn't like. And bags are personal, you know. I know I have quite a few bags that I use here at the house that I've made, and they're generally because I love the fabric and I think they're gorgeous. So I'm going to continue to make some different objects out of those things, and I will continue to offer bags. They probably just won't be as frequent as some of the other bags that I have made in the past. Hang on, folks, I need to get my tape measure. And that's another thing with this pattern. The gals have determined they want a certain height for the pattern. And that's it. Nothing larger, nothing smaller. So that's what they want, and that's what they're going to get. And that's why I measure this, because I wasn't too sure if it was already the length, and it already is the length, the longest length that they want. And there's that young man's, young ladies, I don't know if it's male or female, hat. Weave in ends later. And let me grab another. Pick up my photos because I dropped them all. And isn't that perfect to do? Drop them all. So I am starting on this hat next. It's an interesting combination, choice combination. So that's what I'm starting on now. And I always love these hat patterns because they're simple and pretty much the same type of repeat for growing your hat till you get to your base. I find it interesting. Supposedly this year, and already this week in our area, and I'm hoping it's not going to be too cloudy at night, but at nighttime there's supposed to be this spectacular meteor shower, like 10,000 meteors flying through the air at night, each night, for this next week, I think, here in Pennsylvania. So that should be spectacular. I think it's, you know, nationwide. You should be able to see it. But supposedly it's supposed to be a good showing for those of us in our area. And then, of course, On the 25th of this month, there's the big lineup of all the planets. We have 7 planets. They'll be lined up in a row. Now, supposedly, it is supposed to be somewhat visible with the eye, but you should be able to see it with a pair of binoculars or telescope if you have a telescope. I would hope that you have a telescope. I do not. So, do you have a pair of binoculars? So I'm hoping to be able to see that with the binoculars. And it should be interesting. You know? We don't always get to see these kind of astronomical things. And of course, you know, if you stop and you look at the things with the, had a Bible study this morning and we were talking about it. And one of the things they talked about was the fact that back in the day of Jesus and in those times, astrological things had a lot to do with the events that they believed happened around the world, you know. So that's kind of interesting, you know, to kind of follow up on and see how that's working out. But, yeah, this month seems to be, it's going to be kind of interesting. All the beauty and all the pomp around us, and I hope you guys get a chance to see some of it. I know that there was that night that I went out and you were able to get the little bit of the northern lights with your cell phone photo. Basically, you just take a normal photo in the darkness without your flash on. You need to turn the flash off when you do these, and just hold your button down for a little bit, because it will take a while for it to take because it's dark. But then you can see that those northern lights in the background. I did that for a couple of photos when I was able to see that from the front of the house here, and then I went to the side of the house, the side yard, to see that, and it was absolutely spectacular. So I did enjoy seeing that. So I am looking forward to a little bit of that, seeing some of those things go on. You know, this hat is really curling up. I think I did something wrong. Yep, so I'm going to rip it back. Okie dokie. That is correct. So what are some of your plans for this week? What are you guys looking into doing and all that kind of stuff? Doing something different for the year, or just maintaining your status quo, doing the same thing? Are there any special projects you have in your repertoire this year? Just curious. Those kind of things. I know my mother used to say curiosity killed the cat, but I think the cat was satisfied by getting to see what was going on. So, the new year came. I'm curious, do any of you have any of those superstitions? You know, I call them superstitions. Superstitions that you follow. You know, I'm talking like not washing the clothes on the first of January or anything like that. I'd never heard the one about not washing your clothes on the first of the year, or the not cleaning the first of the year. I think there are different reasons for it here. I think one of the superstitions that I've seen was that if you wash your clothes on the 1st of January, you're washing someone out of your life. If you clean, you're sweeping out prosperity. I don't know, some of those things. I mean, the only thing that I always heard of was on the 1st of January. Whatever you're doing, you'll be doing that for the entire year, which I know is the reason why most businesses are open January the 1st, is because they want to be selling things throughout the year, and that is one of those superstitions. My mother's superstition was always having to open up the front door and the back door so the old could go out and the new come in. Yeah, we used to do that. The other thing was for prosperity that you were supposed to write a check or place money out on your front step and leave it out past midnight. And of course, once midnight had passed, you know, you could bring it in. But that was supposed to bring you good luck and prosperity. I don't know that it ever did, but I guess that's probably your own personal opinion whether it is or not. I've seen everything from the whole, you know, cinnamon thing, sprinkling cinnamon around for good luck and money, and sometimes some of these superstitions I think are interesting. So, and is there anything special that you had to eat on the first day of January? You know, here in Pennsylvania, the big thing is sauerkraut and pork. And I don't know anywhere here that does not, when they do the sauerkraut and pork, they also include mashed potatoes and a hot dog. And supposedly, the whole meaning behind that was that, can't remember what the sauerkraut symbolizes, but the pork symbolized normally that was the first product that you would sell at the beginning of the year that was being slaughtered. And so it would bring in prosperity. And that is the whole idea of eating the pork, sauerkraut and pork here in Pennsylvania. Of course, if you've ever been to any of the Pennsylvania sauerkraut and pork dinners, normally the sauerkraut, the pork is mixed in the sauerkraut, and generally that mixture is poured over your mashed potatoes, and then it is generally served with a hot dog, a dinner roll, applesauce, and some kind of treat. And I always find it interesting, the whole sauerkraut and pork over the mashed potatoes. Don't get me wrong, timed out. think I was talking about the sauerkraut and whatnot, and having eaten it, and it's good. But I'm wondering if that is just a takeoff of the, what's it called, Bubble and Squeak, where you cook the cabbage and the potatoes together. Is that what it's called? Over there in across the pond? I don't know. I don't remember what it is. But I know as growing up, my mother, we always had black-eyed peas as part of the meal. And she would insist on every one of us taking the Girl Scout serving, which if you don't know what a Girl Scout serving is, I think it used to be a teaspoon, a tablespoon, or half a cup. And that brownie was a teaspoon. Cadet, I think, was a tablespoon, and First Class Scout was half a cup. That was to indicate the serving size you were willing to eat. Now, I would take a brownie, a teaspoon, and put them on my plate, and she made sure we had to eat those first before we ate anything else on our plate. Of course, we also did it was kind of a combination of the sauerkraut and pork. We never did the pork in the sauerkraut, but there would be sauerkraut, a hot dog, mashed potatoes, and those black-eyed peas. And I would eat my peas, and begrudgingly, pretty much like this, making a face the whole time. My mother would say, "They're not that bad," and I would say to her, "They taste like dirt." Yes, they're that bad. So, just curious, do you do any of those kind of food things? Cat's over there in the chair and made a funny noise. But yeah, now that I'm older and I don't have to follow those kind of things, I don't. And I enjoy it. And I'm glad that I don't have to. And that I don't want to. And I used to find it funny because when my mother would cook the whole hot dog and all that kind of stuff separate, I would eat my sauerkraut separate. Well, first we'd eat with those awful tasting black-eyed peas. Then I'd eat my sauerkraut, and then I'd chop up my hot dog, put it in my mashed potatoes, and then put a little ketchup on top of it as a kid. I don't eat it that way now, but I do find it interesting that that was my preferred way to eat it as a kid. Oh. And of course, at Christmas, my mother never did like turkey. She hated having turkey. Although at Thanksgiving she would do the turkey because my dad wanted turkey. But at Christmas she would insist on the big ham. And I always thought it was interesting because we would have ham for days after that because she wouldn't get a little ham. She got this humongous ham. And I say this big. I know it wasn't that big. It was probably about close to an 18-pound, 20-pound ham. And, after that, we'd have ham sandwiches. We'd have, she'd make her ham salad. Of course, her ham salad she used to make a little bit differently. She did freeze some of the ham so we could have it later on in the year, different packages. But our ham salad, she would always make it half bologna and half ham, chopped up real fine, and pickle relish in it. And I don't think she did mayonnaise. I don't think she liked mayonnaise. We had a lot of Miracle Whip. So she used Miracle Whip in that. And I used to love that bologna well, she called it ham salad. And I used to love it. So wasn't too bad. You know, as a kid, we ate that a lot, had it on crackers, that kind of thing. Of course, she always saved the big old ham bone. And you knew at some point that with that ham bone, you were going to have pinto beans with the ham bone cooked in it so that the ham would fall off into the beans, which is absolutely delicious and still something I look forward to. Of course, when people ask me what my comfort foods are, I have to tell you, I have an interesting, most people tell me they don't have those comfort foods for when they're sick or just remind them of home. One of the things that I used to love was the pinto beans, fried potatoes and onions, and then a cornbread, sweet cornbread. And of course, you know, we would take our beans and you would put a piece of bread on the plate, and pour your beans, a little bit of juice, and sometimes you might put a little pat of butter on it, and either salt or seasoned salt, or, you know, just eat it plain like that. And then the cornbread was dessert because she always made it sweet. She always put honey or sugar in it. So that is a comfort meal for me. When I was sick, my comfort meal was this. My mother always made sure we had ginger ale, thinking of Gatorade, ginger ale and peaches. That was our go-to when we were sick. She always insisted we would have ginger ale to help us with the nausea or whatever, to keep us hydrated, and then the peaches because I don't know why. But peaches have always been my favorite, so yeah, that's still a go-to comfort food when I am sick. The other thing is when we were sick with nausea, we used to do the Dr. Pepper or the Coke syrup. And what that is you would take a teaspoon of the syrup every 15 minutes for an hour, and it would generally take care of all the nausea and pretty much heal it to where you would be done with the nausea. Now, I've never had it not work, except when I was pregnant. But you're nauseous for a different reason when you're pregnant, because you have that big rush of HCG. That causes that, so. And hormones all over the place when you're pregnant, so that's normally what causes that. Although in my mind it would ease it, right? But yeah, those were some of those what I consider comfort dishes. Do you have any that you guys follow definitely? We were talking today, I had a Bible study earlier, and we were talking about how people have been so sick lately, and it's kind of interesting, and that how many of the people have, when they've tested, when they've been sick, found that they had COVID. Guess I shouldn't have said that out loud. Might get a ding for it. Hope not. But anyway, that they would have that. And nowadays it's more like a cold, although, some people, it still affects them pretty badly. You still do see a couple of this here and there. Generally, it's not the COVID, it's not the C word itself, but it's the pneumonia that comes along with it that does folks in. So, yeah. And then, of course, now we've got this bird flu scare that's going along. And I think the biggest thing that makes it worrisome is because you're seeing a lot of people are saying their animals are infected. And I think I saw a report where some of the waters were tested and they were found to be full of it. But there's a part of me that says, well, that kind of makes sense. Birds, they fly along over water, let loose bodily functions. So why wouldn't it be in the water? I think the biggest thing they're scared of is it mutating over to where it's past human to human. Hopefully we will not get to that point with this. But there's a part of me that thinks if we are reaching that point, who experimented? Who was trying to see if they could get that done and why? That's my whole thing. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist or anything. I am. But, sometimes it does make you wonder. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Trying to determine how many rows I want to do on this hat to change those colors. I guess 2 more on this color green before I move to the black. That is the only thing that's hard about this pattern, is determining how many rows that you're going to do for the hat to get it to that point. Other than that, it's a pretty easy pattern. But yeah, that seems to be the biggest concern this year now. I do know that they have talked about if you have animals that go indoors and outdoors, you need to really watch them carefully. And to try to avoid letting them eat raw meat. And I gotta tell you, back years ago when this bird flu came around the first time around, that I can remember hearing about it, was the same thing with the cats and dogs. You had to be careful about them eating raw food, generally, birds, because they could get it. Of course, the only bad side effect about that is we tend to kill all the chickens that, when you find it in the chickens, tend to kill all the chickens off so that egg prices go up. And here we go. Here we go, eggs now. Last time I checked were $3.58 for a dozen eggs in my area. And I'm sure they're going to go up. So, an egg is one of the most complete proteins. And you still consider it's a pretty cheap meal to have some eggs, but I don't know. Who knows if we're going to make it through this year's plagues. I tease, I call them plagues. And then we You know, this whole thing with the Pope opening the portal, I have to laugh, you know, with the Jubilee. It's the year of the Jubilee for him. Of course, back in the day with the Bible, the year of Jubilee was time of rest for your land, I believe, as well as all the slaves were freed. You were not taxed during that time because it was a time of free taxation during the Jubilee. Of course, we don't have that with our government, do we? So, just find it interesting, all the different things around Jubilee and this coming up and the rumors. They're fun to watch and to hear and to see, you know, and to kind of joke about them. But yeah, it's crazy. I know that Miss Kayla, Llama Mama Kayla, she has been going through some things recently that have been pretty tough. And I feel you, girl. Her health issues are a little bit more serious than mine, than many of us have. So let's keep her in our thoughts and prayers as she battles with all of the stuff that's going on, you know, with her health and all that kind of stuff. And I got to tell you, gastroparesis is no fun. What it is called, gastroparesis means paralyzed stomach, and it means that your stomach is no longer doing the rhythmic pulsing that it does to break down your food. It is painful. I have been through it. You're nauseous all the time, and sometimes things come back up that you thought you were safe to eat. And there are a lot of things they tell you not to eat because it just aggravates it. And one of those things is fiber. And unfortunately, she has tube feedings. And with those tube feedings, they add fiber. So it's kind of a no-win battle for her right now. So anyway, let's keep her in our prayers as she goes through this time of illness. And one of the things that you can do to help her channel out is to watch her videos. You know, there's lots of times that, well, I'll give you an example. When I get off here, I am going to go do some cleaning. And as part of that cleaning and washing clothes, because I got to do laundry, because I didn't do it on the first because of that superstition, brain fart. Don't you hate when that happens? I know I do. So anyway, as I'm cleaning, what I will do is I will open up my laptop and I will go to playlist of Llama Mamas and I will put it on in the background. I won't keep it silent. I will actually lower the sound on it a little bit because otherwise the cats get nosy and they have to try to see what's going on. It just gets ugly. So, and then I will just let that play out while I'm doing things in the background. And that is one way to support her and to help them meet their financial needs. Because, you know, they do a lot of paying for a lot of all of this stuff on their own. And it's not easy. So, yeah, let's do what we can to help her out. And with that, I am going to let you go because I think I've chatted on long enough and I have a lot of things that I need to get done. So I'm going to move along. Don't forget to go over to that poll about the yarn that I chose for the stash busting series that I'm doing. Choose an item, vote for an item. As long as I'm concerned, you can vote for 2 or 3 if you want. Don't forget to leave a comment down there below as well, and maybe leave a suggestion for a pattern. Like, I think I have one of the options as a poncho. Maybe you could leave a certain poncho, maybe one of Crystal's ponchos or Heart Hook and Home, whoever, that you think that yarn would look good in. And yeah, don't forget to do that. I will probably next Monday, I will, I guess I'll do it Sunday. Sunday evening, I will look and see what has been overall chosen, and then I will start the project and share that all with you on the following Monday. And then I'll also, on the following Monday, I will show you the items that I chose to make out of some of that yarn. So, yeah. Hope you guys have a little bit of fun with this. I know I am going to have fun with this. It is a way for me to get through some of this yarn, as well as just play, have a little bit of fun with it. All right, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Everybody have a great week. Have a great weekend. Stay dry, stay warm. I'll see you soon. Bye.